5 strings is way different. 5 strings is way different.
I did the major 7. I should have done a sus2.
Or did you want to go to a sus2 because you played with this first?
Major 7 suspended tone.
Yeah. Man. Every time I pick up a different instrument, I look at the marks on it.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the where it's been held.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to find out what the story is, who's been passed down to. And same thing, it's lighter. It's way lighter than modern instruments.
I think this one has some decent wear here too, just from.
And that's the thing. The same thing on both ukuleles and this on the Rajao. There's no there wasn't a pick or an indentation into it. This was all done by just hand touching wood.
Yeah. This one has a little bit, I guess the way that, or the type of wood that the fretboard is made of, it turns lighter, from the oils and stuff in your skin. So, yeah, they played a lot on the first fret.
Yeah. So that too, there's a lot of C7s.
C7,
maybe a sus4.
F sus4. Yeah.
On this one is all 2nd fret.
Yeah.
Bottom here.
It's like F, B flat.
Yeah. Because also seeing the wear marks tells me how they played it too.
Yeah. A lot of D7s.
A lot of D7s. But then I'm noticing on the top string, when it was held, it was mostly on the 2nd fret. Mm-hmm. So that would have been a D or an E note. Maybe that's how they added to just double the E on the C chord. But yeah, we're like detectives looking at instruments.
I just realized that this one, the headstock is offset.
Oh, this.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's offset, so the strings are going into the nut slots at an angle.
You think we're spoiled by modern day of symmetry?
Yeah.
As opposed to hand built, not quite symmetrical. Because also you're noticing today we have perfect planed koa or whatever wood we're using, but then we hardly see knots from the wood, like you pointed that out earlier.
The one thing I guess in replacement to the knots, the knots are more widely acceptable back then, but these days what I'm seeing is the sapwood being incorporated into the build.
And there's just barely a saddle on that. Barely a saddle.
It's
more like an angle of that wood piece on the bottom.
Yeah.
as opposed to an actual bridge.
Yeah. It's these little imperfections that make the instrument.
I love it. Same thing. It's all wood. No metal piece to be found.
Nothing. Even the pegs.
Yeah, the Rajao's wooden pegs, but there's a nail down here, but then this piece is purely decorative to begin with.
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect the sound that much. But still, string to wood out there.
I wonder how a uke made today would sound using today's standards, but with all wood.
Yeah. Less mechanical, more.
So we wouldn't necessarily use bone or anything for the saddle, just straight wood.
But the interesting discussion we had earlier was that no bracing.
Yeah.
A lot of bracing on modern instruments. But then we're trying to, maybe the more modern is because just mainly to get it to this age because not everybody takes care of their instruments to last this long.
Yeah, but it makes you think how long ours would last.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if these lasted this long,
Yeah.
and if there's no racing, how long will ours last? I can't talk.
Yeah. No, what I brought up earlier too is that to hear this sound from an 1879 and another 1800, we will never ever hear our instruments.
No.
That far in the future.
Yeah. So that's why we have to possess our
We have
youth now.
We have to put our souls into our instrument now, so
Play our hearts out.
we can't hear it
Yeah.
100, 200 years from now.
Yeah.
Because that is a trip. Like the people who built this, also the first person who got this off from the builder, who played it for the first time,
Yeah.
they'll never hear what I'm hearing.
Or maybe what we need to do is like burn our instruments and be like, I can't hear it. Nobody
If I
else
can't hear it, no one will.
Nah, I'm just joking.
That's a trip. It's like time travel.
It really is. And just being creative people, not just for musicians, but just all artists in general. We have that sense that we're able to really tap into where the instrument has been just by looking at it, feeling it, playing it. So it's like there's so much that we feel right now, so much history that comes out even into my own mind. Just like, okay, I know where this uke's been. It's like,
Yep. I feel like we're trying to connect to those that. It's definitely a connection story because that's why we really. That's why this pauses, because we're really examining every grain, every line, every.
I'd really like to find if there's any way to trace what kind or what Madeiran songs were played
That's
on the original instruments, and then go ahead and learn those and then play them on the original.
That's a good thought.
So that's bridging all connections.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think.
Because being an ukulele player, I have no idea what a Rajao is supposed to sound like in its original tuning, the way it's supposed to be played. Because I had played a quattro before, totally different tuning, but it gave me an appreciation of that culture of where it came from, and I like to do the same with the Rajao and the machette, to really tap into the origin of it.
I would like to find out if there's any of my family members from long time ago, if they've ever played any. That'd be pretty
1879.
Yeah, I do know that my dad's father's family is from Portugal. My dad's mother's family from Brazil. Ironically, we're both the same last name, with Paiva as the last name. But that would be pretty cool to trace back if they ever did.
So it just gives me a thought of maybe we should catalog our ukuleles.
I think so.
Because we're not going to hold on them to it forever.
And they're one of a kind too.
Because I think it would be a lot easier in today's age if there was something like that in place. Like, who had it? Where did it go? Where has it been? And how much of the world has it seen?
It's like having its own little passport.
Yep. And it gives me a totally different perspective on museums. I don't want my ukulele in a museum anymore or anything that static, just stationary kind. I want my instrument to be played.
I would like mine to be very well taken care of by a collector or somebody. But I want it also used for, the most professional artist, at that time, whenever that is. I want it to be available for somebody to create music on.
Actually, we did that with one of my dad's ukuleles.
Nice.
There's a museum on Kamakahi at Kalaupapa, and same thing. It's in its own case, but the residents are allowed to play it. So
Nice.
it's not stuck behind plexiglass.
Right.
That's why it's just very, very fortunate to be playing these instruments.
Yeah.
Incredibly light. I'm just wondering, with builders and stuff today, I'm thinking some of it should be put back.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the concepts and the techniques we've seen here, I'd love to see that in my instrument.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I like this. I wouldn't mind experimenting, taking out the bracing
Mm-hmm.
to get more sound. I would sacrifice structural integrity for sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would just mean I'd have to play it only at home
Mm-hmm.
and within a mile of my home.
Yeah.
But have you seen anything that you wouldn't mind seeing on modern ukuleles?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing the no fingerboard. I feel like that, playing that and then playing this, that feels a lot more natural for some strange reason.
Because I feel without a fretboard, you literally connect to the instrument right away.
Yeah.
But I like to keep the dots. That's a challenge.
Over here, we're playing our songs. I'm like, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I know. I'm counting frets in my head. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
Like, man. Yeah, I would love my dots back.
Like over time, being professional musicians and stuff, like we get used to how the neck feels. We don't really have to think about it. So I had to kind of revert back to the first ukulele, the soprano Kamakahi that I had when I first started learning. And it was like this. I'm like, okay, how did that feel on the 5th fret? Okay, I'm here. Let's go here. Yeah.
But playing the Rajao, meaning it came over to Hawaii and then metamorphed into being a ukulele. Mm-hmm. I have a greater appreciation of where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this sounds really crisp.
It's very bright.
Very bright sounding. It'll cut through anything.
Yeah.
And same thing. I love playing an instrument where I put not that much effort into getting sound out.
Right. That's one of them.
Because then I can focus more on other things like melody and what to do with this D string on the top. But
yeah.
Anything else you notice on it?
I just keep going back to how amazing that looks. It's at such an angle.
I love how dark the rosewood is. That's insane.
Yeah. It's just crazy light.
But I think the takeaway for me today is take care of our instruments.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never get to hear the 200-year version of our instruments unless we possess it.
Yeah.
So, but then I hope that whoever does play it far in the future, they can connect to us too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Overall. And that.
I feel like it's when you play somebody else's instrument, it's almost like you kind of end up playing in the same style that they play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it just, like I was saying earlier, that personality from them, that energy from them comes through when we pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, if I were to play your uke, I would play something that would sound like you because it's yours, and you're a part of that instrument.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you think we do that because the uke was specifically built that way, or just to connect to the human aspect of it.
I think it just kind of happens because you are that's an extension of you. So that's how the instrument is going to sing.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound like you. So even if I were to pick it up, it would sound like you.
Yeah.
Today was a great day.
Today was a great day. Oh, man. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Had a blast today.